to Facebook. So I have Lou with me right now. Lou, is it Lou Bortone?
Bortone, yep, close enough. Yeah.
Bortone. Lou Bortone. So I have Lou Bortone in here, and we're going to also have this lovely lady. Her name is Donna Schreiner, and she is actually a client of mine. And I'll share more about why I want her here when we're talking about like loyalty in this new stage, this new things that are going on in this world, like how we can show up and really be authentic. And Lou is an expert in that. I was reading some of his stuff. Oh, it's just so exciting to have him on board.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so excited, Lou. And then we have this conversation around mindset mastery. And in the green room, Lou and I were talking about how difficult it can really be, just like the vulnerability out there when you're
Yeah.
in social media. We're talking YouTube, we're talking all these things that sometimes you put yourself out there, sometimes
Mhm.
hard to be on camera, but also just walking into a room and feeling vulnerable
Yeah.
and in learning how to get into that space. So the mindset mastery is just like, it's like one of my main focuses when I'm coaching too. I feel like if we can get in there and really
Mhm.
grow the heart and keep that heart just like, vibing. And there's
Yeah.
so much research now about when we have the heart really pumping that there's actually extra blood. It's like a muscle
Mhm.
that's working. And so you're exuding this energy around this organ that also acts like a brain. There's like 40,000 neurons that are within
Gosh.
your heart that actually work like a brain too. That's why you're so smart when you're in the heart. It's not just that you're a love bug, but
Yeah.
you are truly like logical with a lot of love. And it
Mhm.
gives you an opportunity to be in truth and share the truth, like what you're really feeling. And sometimes, when you show up those days when you feel like, like, why am I so smart today? Like, what is happening? I am like the bomb. And you do that, you go, oh, that only happened once. And you can,
Mhm.
be in your business or at work and you just have all this lovely stuff you're doing. And you're like, man, I'm nailing it. Your
Mhm.
relationships are going great. Your conversations are going great. It just feels like you're in this sexy body and you're like, oh my gosh, how could
Mhm.
it be even any better than this? But the truth is, that was the day that you were in the heart. If you really think about that, you feel grounded. You feel
Mhm.
like you're in love with yourself, which is love with yourself in the brain. There's so much ego that goes into that because there's so much fight or flight going on with the brain
Yeah.
that the reason why I want to do this show today is really speak to how you can get everything you want when it comes to leadership. Not from here where it's just like a one upping, being scared that you have to be number one,
Yeah.
those things that kind of throw us off. But
Yeah, it's kinda
leadership
like
is hard.
being in flow. I mean, that's like
Yeah,
people sometimes people describe it like, "Oh my gosh, I'm just in the zone right now," you know?
yeah. Yeah, and then oh, yeah, I feel that. I haven't thought about that, Lou, like being in the zone, because the zone is that you are grounded, you're not way up here, and you're not in the
Mhm.
ego, but when your heart starts partnering with your mind, there's something about that that relaxes the brain, and there's these chemicals. There's been all this research lately about the heart and the body and the chemistry, but the brain starts being more cohesive
Yeah.
with the heart. And so it calms that space so that you don't feel like you're in fear. And I get in truth with this late at night. Last night, I had a really good sleep. Not that I
Mhm.
didn't wake up 4 times, but usually when I'm waking up, I'm like, "Ma,"
Mhm.
I'm not really doing that because my husband would be so pissed. I go, what the heck? But I'm
Mhm.
like, "Oh my gosh, this and this and this I have to fix, this I have to do that," like that crazy talk.
Yep.
And I woke up last night and I said, "Man, life is good." And I just started meditating instead of going in my crazy.
Mhm.
And all I could think was like, "I can't wait till the day starts." Not
Yeah.
the like fire, like, "I can't wait till the day starts because I need to do this and that." It didn't happen that way.
Mhm.
It was like, "Hmm, yeah, it's gonna be a good day." And then I reminded myself that I was gonna be doing a show today. I
Yay.
was like, no wonder why, because the show always gets us in the heart. If this is your first time on the show, you're going to notice that by the time we get done, no matter where you come in, that sometimes it's kind of like you're in a flurry until you start hearing these experts that get to be on the show. And I really believe that we're all experts. So I'm always looking for people that are in alignment because that is the expert space, that you're not trying to be like everybody else. So I try and bring in these experts that really just are hunkered in to the expertise, what they're doing. We could just fly with
Hmm.
being able to serve in a way that feels like love. You know, like that love, that appreciation in life when you get to the peak of what you're doing here. Like, why
Hmm.
am I here on earth? And we can get spiritual. We can get, some people love to speak about God. Some people love to just speak about their expertise because sometimes people don't like speaking about that stuff. But you get to speak as an expert about anything and everything that's really important to you because there's a reason why these people coming on are experts is
Yeah,
because they share what's important to them. So Lou, let's get your conversation going here.
sure.
I would love to talk about this fun leadership, like the leadership secrets. And I bet you really actually do have a lot of secrets because, well, no, I can't end it there.
Yeah,
You have Lou has a lot of secrets, and we'll talk about his personal life later.
yeah,
No, but Lou really has this talk that he does, and he's talking about the Godfather and what was so important about that. And it's really about knowing that you have somebody else's back
yeah.
and learning about what that stands for. So, Lou, I do want to do maybe a proper introduction of you because I think that's important, but let me
Sure.
just kind of warm up your vocals here. Can you share with me this playfulness that you're doing right now about in your main
Yeah.
talk that you're doing
I
in the
mean,
Godfather?
I do video. Like I came from TV and I do video marketing. And it occurred to me while I was watching The Godfather for some reason that it's not about technology and video. It's about connection and loyalty and relationships. So that was the big aha for me. So that's when I said, you know what? Yeah, I do video, but what I'm really doing is trying to help people create relationships and build lasting loyalty so that, you're not just selling a product to a client, you're basically creating a relationship with them and transferring your knowledge or your compassion or whatever it may be. So that's how I kind of came into the whole loyalty thing. I mean, people say like, oh, but The Godfather, it's so violent. I'm like, well, I grew up in an Italian family in a town that was sort of, like real life Godfather stuff. And for us, it was more about family and loyalty and traditions and really just kind of taking care of your own. So that's kind of where that was sort of the environment that I came out of. So I
Yeah.
think if you think of things like, uh, like you said, I'm an introvert. When I walk into a room full of strangers, I'm absolutely terrified. But when you start to think like, okay, I have these people's backs and they have my back, then you kind of relax and start to say, okay, that's where the authenticity comes in. Let's just take down all the barriers and, get real.
Mm. I like that word loyalty. Like,
Hmm.
can you give me just your definition of
Hmm.
loyalty?
Yeah.
I like play upon different things.
Yeah. And it's not like blind loyalty, like being in the cult or anything. It's really more about creating a lasting relationship where, in times of trouble or in good times or bad, you've created a relationship with that person and you know that they have your back, they're loyal to you, you can count on them. Because to me, and I heard this a long time ago, but business is about making commitments and keeping commitments.
Yeah.
So loyalty is really just about keeping commitments.
Yeah. I like that. And I want to go in that direction with loyalty a little bit more. You know, to show up in a way of showing leadership and people feeling that you're loyal, I
Hmm.
think the hardest thing to do is what we talked about earlier, which was you being comfortable show like not just you, Lou, like me and
Hmm.
everybody here that you're showing up consistently. And what can stop us is that feeling of
Yep.
insecurity or like I can't be on the camera today because of something. And sometimes it's just like a really deep inside thing that feels like you just can't connect
Hmm.
with that. What are the things, since you were talking about being an introvert, and this will
Yeah.
help people that are getting out there trying to get into video more and be more consistent, like what we're talking about here, being consistent, showing your people that are starting to follow you that
Hmm.
you got their back because these things that you're saying and you're expressing, people are going, oh, I need to hear more Lou stuff. And the more that you've shown up, the more they're like getting who you are too. So when building your videos or just showing up in a room doing some networking or
Mhm.
whatever, what are some of the things that you have done and that maybe you help your clients with also to really show up so that
Mhm.
they feel like they're kind of centered and they're ready to do stuff consistently to really build a business and
Yeah.
be loyal and be there for people?
I think the thing is you have to think that, like, especially when if I'm going to an event, I'm like, "Oh my god, people." You have to think it's not about you, it's about them. What can I bring to the party, basically? What can I,
Yeah.
how can I add value to this meeting, this room, this networking or whatever? So as soon as you stop thinking like, "Oh my god, I'm so nervous. What if people, don't like me?" You just think like, "Well, how can I best serve this group that I'm with?" And I think that's when the fear kind of disappears because you're not thinking about yourself anymore.
Yeah, not thinking about yourself because this really isn't about
Mhm.
me or about you. It's about like serving and
Yeah.
showing up. I
Mhm.
love that. What
Yeah.
what kind of when you're working with video and I've been
Mhm.
watching some of your videos, which is like so entertaining. Can we talk about like that? You're talking about Godfather, you're talking about
Mhm.
loyalties, new currency, you're
Yeah.
talking about like entertaining people. And here at Fresh Talks Global Vision, we trademark this thing called mindset transformation entertainment
Ooh,
because
cool.
I believe that we do that to kind of really capture people. So
Yeah.
I love watching you play. Can we talk about like
Yeah, I
what
mean,
you're
the
doing
thing
out
is
there?
with video, and again, as an introvert, humor disarms people and it makes them relax. So I mean, I'm not a comedian, but I'm not above, putting on a goofy hat or a costume to try to be funny and to disarm people. And honestly, a lot of this goofy stuff that I do is really, again, to take the focus off me. And, I feel like, well, I don't have to be on camera if I'll just wear a goofy hat and be Uncle Vito today, and that's the character that I'll do. So that sort of takes the pressure off a little bit.
Okay,
And
where
I
does
just
on
that's the thing
keep
with
going.
clients. Again, if you can get them to relax and disarm them a little bit and have them lower their guard, I try to use humor to do that. So a lot of my videos are goofy characters or costumes, or I have two rescue pugs. I try to get them in the videos whenever they cooperate because people love, yeah, animals, babies and animals. So when in doubt, go to the animals.
Yeah, I saw the latest video you did, and it was about spaghetti.
Oh yeah, my pug that likes spaghetti. Yeah. So
Like, well,
and
why
that's
want
the other thing
spaghetti?
it's so easy now because, like, I used AI to find a voice for the dog because I didn't wanna
Oh,
voice it myself, so it's
yeah.
like there's so many resources out there that make it so easy to show up on video and
Oh,
look professional, look authentic. It's just easier now than it ever was, and, like, that's why I like shows like this because you can go if you stream to YouTube, you've
mhm.
got just as much power and potential as any of the TV networks or streaming services because YouTube reaches everybody.
Yeah. Well, I
So
love it. Yeah, because when we first started this show, we were just directly in another like a Facebook in a private group, and
mhm,
that was it. And I had a strategy around that, but I really love to have the be connected, which we both really love,
mhm,
and the options that you have with that, and then also the YouTube, and we are going into Facebook also. So
mhm,
with video, can we keep playing in this area?
sure,
Like, share some more with me. Like, what do you
mhm,
feel? Because you're talking about AI.
yeah,
What are the things that you're feeling really capture people that you're learning about? Because I know things have really shifted these
yeah,
past
yeah,
few years. What we're looking for. Because I've been in the industry for about 15 years, and
mhm,
I just keeping up on the trends is wild and crazy. It's like a wild
yeah.
ride.
Right, and so what happened was, a few years ago during the pandemic when we all had to suddenly not go to events and not be in person, you know, things like, Be Connected and Zoom became a lifeline really to
Yeah.
connecting with people. So, in some ways that accelerated the use of video because it was the only way we could connect and engage.
Hmm.
It wasn't that long ago, when just like, no events, no this, no that. So that, I guess if there was, any kind of silver lining to that, it's that we all were sort of forced to learn this technology, whether it's Zoom or Be Connected or Facebook or YouTube. Basically, those are all just means to an end, and that end is connecting with people and getting out there and getting your face out there and putting yourself in front of people. And
What
honestly,
are
I'd rather do this than go to an event because it's less intimidating.
I know. When we first started this show, I was doing it live. Like I was going to San Francisco,
Hmm. Wow.
Marin,
Yep.
Sacramento. We were just all over the place. I had speakers and I had a video guide and all that kind of stuff. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
And so when COVID happened, that week I was supposed to be going somewhere, and just my background is accounting. I have a CPA background, so
Hmm.
I technically I was just like, oh, let's flip this, let's get it online. And I had so many people, just so much love, and
Hmm.
that's what I feel like we're learning here is how to use video and really bring in community and be
Hmm.
able to bring people into this space of like, hey, I got your back.
Yeah.
So what are you doing out there to like since we are like Lou, I feel like I can feel your energy and I feel like I can feel the energy of people that are going to be watching this, that are going to be
Hmm.
live, but also future stuff because I really want to be authentic.
Yeah.
And thank you for being with us and recording or for being live. But I think about this because when you're in person with somebody, the transition
Hmm.
we've had to do, especially if you're like us, that have been doing this for a while,
Yeah.
that you to translate that and to be with somebody is really important because people aren't going to be able to hear what you're saying if you're kind of talking at them. So what
Hmm.
are the new tools or things like when it comes to like the way you show up
Yep.
when you're doing
Well,
stuff?
yeah, I mean, again, you can, it's a lot of it's just about being consistent. So, like, again, you might not be feeling it, but if you said, I'm going to go live every Tuesday at 2 p.m., no
Yeah.
matter what, and you do
Yeah.
that, then you start to build that consistency. It's almost like, building a muscle, like, okay, I'm just going to keep working at this. And then that's really, how, if you look at some of the big YouTube creators and the
Mhm.
sort of, so-called internet stars, there's a woman, and this was a while ago, named Michelle Phan from Massachusetts, who started doing makeup tutorials. She started with 3 viewers, she started with 4 viewers. 2, 3 years later, she's got millions of viewers and working with major makeup companies, and not because she was like, I'm going to go try to be a star. She was just
Yeah.
saying, I want to show you how to do makeup to look like Angelina Jolie on the red carpet. 1 million views on YouTube, and suddenly she's, and again, not because she was trying to manipulate anything. She was just
Yeah.
sharing her passion, which happens to be makeup.
Could we go in there further what in your expertise about I like
Hmm.
how you're saying these things about wanting to get to be a star relative to actually serving. So that would be
Hmm.
like us racing after like how many likes we have, how many people are following and things like that, but really serving from the heart.
Hmm.
What is it that you feel when you're helping somebody kind of just get started or they haven't
Yeah.
been getting a lot of those views, like the mindset around that and how to prepare somebody for really
Yeah.
still showing up?
I think the mindset is to focus on your message and not your
Mhm.
media. Like oh shoot, my glasses are reflecting. It's like, if you're sharing your message, if you're passionate about it, if you're just really trying to say, look, I have a message that I think matters, regardless of what it may be,
Yeah.
and I want to share that and get it out there. So if you taking the focus off yourself, so get out of your own skin and think about, my message is more important than my fear of being on camera.
Yeah.
So that's the big thing. It's like people say, like, oh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. It's like, well, do you want people to hear you and hear what you have to say? Then get over it and get on camera and do it.
Seriously. And I think that's around the mindset mastery, like that people are ready to hear, like, get over it. Like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, instead of wanting to
Yeah.
battle about it, It's so I
Right.
love that, like having an open mind
Hmm.
because the reason why we're out here doing stuff and exposing ourselves, being vulnerable, what we were talking about earlier, is that you wake up and you go, man, I've been hiding. Like I have this
Hmm.
passion that I want people to, understand whatever it is that this is something I've been dealing with. And I keep talking to people and they're dealing with it, but I
Yeah.
can see that. So I what is it when it comes to the difference in showing up when you're showing up live with somebody than when you're showing up in video,
Mhm.
and how somebody can play with who they authentically are.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's really just, again, trying to, be yourself. You gotta let your guard down a little bit. Um, I have another friend and colleague, Nika Stewart, and she was, battling cancer, and she was doing chemo, and she lost all her hair, and she went on camera and, "Okay, I have no hair. This is what I'm dealing with," and just very authentic, very upbeat, very positive. And boom, TikTok went crazy, and overnight, she's like, "Oh my God, where did all these people come from?" It's like, well, you just let your guard down. You were authentic. You shared a message. You didn't, you know, you just were yourself, and the people connected with it. Because again, that's how you can kind of inspire other folks. Because maybe somebody really needed to hear that message. Oh my God, I'm also going through chemo. I mean, that was obviously a pretty dramatic thing, and she's great now, which is awesome. But during that, she kind of documented her whole journey and
Wow.
really connected with people. Because again, you don't know who else is going through something similar or who needs to hear that message today.
Yeah, you're bringing up great points about like, how we're dealing with this new stuff and also deal I want to put these two together that we're
Hmm.
dealing with our own health and wellness, and we know so many people around us that are ill. We could be dealing with illness
Hmm.
and feeling that vulnerability and actually putting your kind of exposing yourself more. I
Yeah.
feel like that works well in life too.
Hmm.
Like when you show up authentically and you're just
Yeah.
like, well, like even going into a grocery store, I'm finding that if I just look at somebody, I get to have, and somebody who's just kind of like all of a sudden I'll just feel like, here, this person I want to say hi to.
Hmm.
It's usually in the vegetable section, by the way, Lou.
Yeah.
But what I 2 years ago, I started losing quite a few people in my life, and I had clients that were losing. I have a couple clients that lost husbands,
Hmm.
and I almost went into this whole closed mode, and my whole body just like tightened up.
Hmm.
So when I was on my coaching calls, I was just like dialed in, focused. My body's relaxed. As soon as I got off, I was like in this state where I couldn't even open up my body. I was so scared, and so I stopped doing video. But I didn't even know how to show up except just for my clients.
Hmm.
So when you're dealing with bigger things like that, what what is it about that loyalty thing that may have been able to help me open up more and kind of
Hmm.
open up like what my truth was? Where can we connect that loyalty space to
Yeah, I think it's
dealing
not
with
just
things?
yeah, not just being loyal to, a friend, a spouse, a colleague, but being loyal to yourself and being true to yourself, and saying like, okay, if I don't share this message, or if I'm not authentic, I'm being disloyal to myself. So I think it starts with you.
Yeah.
Um, so I think, and again, I hadn't really thought about it that way until just now, but it's like, yeah, I mean, you do have to kind of be true to yourself. So
Yeah.
it has to start there. So,
Yeah. But
but
what
I
what
think,
is
loyalty is, a great thing because it's how you develop friendships. And again, as an introvert, it's not easy for me. I don't have 1,000 friends, but I have a few really tight friends. So,
mhm. What's in your background that brought you into this type of business? You said that you were
mhm.
in doing, did you say movie
I
stuff?
was in TV and marketing, but never on camera, always, always, always behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt like I could, sort of hide. I didn't have to be out there because I
Mhm.
was promoting other people and marketing other things. So, when I left TV and kind of went into the online world, I'm like, oh crap, now I'm the one who has to be on camera. So on YouTube or whatever. So it was a weird little transition, but again, it was one of those things where I thought, I can't teach people how to do video and ask them to be on camera if I'm not willing to do it. So I had to suck it up too.
Yeah. I love this conversation. Anything I'm missing here that we should be talking about? Like maybe leadership secrets. Is there anything
Mhm.
in there that I would like to pull out and kind of get more dialed into?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's again, if you're going to be in business and be online and be out there, it's just about consistency and commitment. Like I said, I'm gonna I'm gonna go live, or like you're gonna do your show every week or every 3 weeks or whatever it is,
Yeah.
consistently,
Yeah.
over and over, because that's really what's gonna help you succeed in business, is just really sticking with it with an almost stubborn mentality of like, God damn it, I'm gonna do this until it works. So
Yeah, I remember I thought I was like big and bold. This is a time when I was just like, yeah, I'm nailing it, like that kind of feeling. It was like so ego. And then it was because I was just like, oh yeah, cool.
mhm,
Because I was having fun. And it's like, well,
yeah,
having fun doesn't always translate to business. It
yeah,
just translate you're having fun. And sometimes the knowing the structure and where you want to bring people and
mhm.
making sure that you're being authentic instead of just, like just that I'm having fun kind of thing. Even though business is fun, if you break
Yeah, I
into this,
mean, you gotta
I,
try things, try new things, be
yeah,
be a little crazy, and don't be
yeah,
afraid to experiment. Because I mean, that's what, business is about. It's like, "Try this. Does it work? No. Okay, try something else." And
yeah,
if you make it into kind of a game and have fun with it, it's a lot easier, which is how I discovered, like, I was when I was first online a long time ago, I would put my pugs on camera, my dogs. And I'm like, okay, they got 300 views, I got 6.
yeah,
So I'm like, okay, I guess I need to put my pugs on camera more. But
yeah.
you never know what people are gonna, resonate with. So that's why you just gotta kind of try
So
new
I have
things.
Oliver and Robert, and I'll be outside
Yeah.
and I'll be doing a video. Like, 'cause I like to be on video almost every day. Lately, it's been a little bit less, but I usually do. And so I'm like talking, like just go in this direction. I think it's everything's going awesome.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, you hear this, like
Yeah.
whatever it is, whatever they're playing with outside. And all of a sudden, I just kind of go. And then, like, there's Oliver and Robert, like, they're my business partners. I'm like, all
Mhm.
right, like, they just have to be in the video every single time. We have all this yard, and somehow they're always in video. And I go,
Mhm.
okay, so, and it seems to line up with what I'm saying. So, like, if I'm saying something about, showing up or whatever, and then Robert, which is my younger one, he's 3 years old, a lab,
Mhm.
he'll like just be throwing stuff all over the place and playing, but it's really loud. And then all of a sudden
Mhm.
it's like it just fits in, like it tethers with what I'm talking about. And go,
Yeah.
see, look, Robert's showing up. So I
Yeah.
really feel like, okay, boys, you're in alignment here. You're working now.
Right, and the authenticity of, like, if you're working from home or if you're doing online stuff, shit's gonna happen. So you
Yeah.
might as well just build it into the video.
Yeah.
If the UPS guy shows up, you're gonna hear my little doggies go nuts. So it's just
Exactly.
it is what it is, right? So I just like go with the flow and let it be part of what you're doing.
So I appreciate you being here so much.
Thank
When
you.
I look at your stuff, what's your YouTube channel?
It's just Lou Bortone or Lou Bortone video on YouTube. If you search that, you'll find all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
15 years worth of nuttiness. So
Yeah. Oh, I just love it. And I love that you swear. Like, that's one of my latest things. When I was younger, it's usually kids being cool, they want to swear. I was like,
mhm.
no. Some of my kids state now lately, I've been just, going, and my family's like, whoa, because it's
Yeah, and
like
it's
it's
like I
so
don't because I don't
playful.
I don't edit myself. I used to have a better filter, but now I'm kind of like whatever comes out of my mouth is
It seems
so.
to be that I have an 18 and 20-year-old, and the other day, yeah, Jacob, my son, 20 years old,
Mhm,
he used the F word, but it was like this, like throwing it
mhm.
out there like it was regular
Yeah.
lingo, and the whole family started laughing, like, what the heck? Because in our family, what I've noticed is when I first had my kids and talking about like I wouldn't even do anything. I wouldn't even be on camera when I was younger, when I had my kids. I was like,
Mhm,
no, I'm not going to be on camera. My voice, I was at a higher pitch. I wasn't really into like
mhm,
who I was hiding a lot. And I thought I was going to raise the kids differently because it was like, how do I raise my kids? All this
mhm.
structure and like especially as a CPA and accountant, I'm just like,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And then as I started really listening, oh, and I was on thyroid medicine for 20 years. So when
Mhm,
I decided to get off medicine 7 years ago, gaining a lot of weight, but learning more about my health coaching, because I've been in the health industry for like 25 years,
mhm.
it got me more into truth. And I started really feeling my aches and pains.
Yeah.
And I go, you're right. I hear more truth in life now. And it's it was learning to be very authentic with who I was.
Hmm.
So when there's a certain point when I was like, here, wait, I don't have to know everything, just like I feel like in business. Like, I don't need to know everything. And as a coach, I don't need to be telling people exactly what to do. I need to have that mindset mastery approach. That's what
Hmm.
I love what we're talking about today. But at some point, I said to the kids, okay, let's talk about some things that you're really mad at me about. Oh, I just got stuff. And lately I've been going to my clients and saying, okay, when you were a client of mine a year ago or 2 years ago, can we talk about like what maybe I could have done different? And I'm kind
Hmm.
of playing with this thing. Because I think in life and I think in business, I think with the show, and what do you think about this too? That the more that you can be in truth with
Hmm.
because you talked about your friend and dealing with cancer being very authentic. What have you been learning about yourself, just being in truth and really actually exposing yourself in a way that's not blah to people, but it's like you get to build
Yeah.
your audience when they get to hear this, like, yeah, I get to be more myself. What have you
Yeah.
been learning in
Just
your
that
journey?
it doesn't have to be perfect. There's going to be days where you're not feeling it and like, oh, shit, I have to be on camera again today. But, you know,
I'll
um,
share.
and the other thing I tell people is like, it's YouTube. You're not walking the red carpet at the Oscars, right? Nobody's
What?
like, who are you wearing? It's like, I don't know. I haven't worn anything but sweatpants in 3 years. It's like, okay, as long as I'm okay from here up, then what the hell?
Everything's good.
Mhm. So I think you just got to be, and again, I think some of it comes with getting a little older, not worrying about what other people are thinking and just do your thing.
Hey, Lou, I hear this stuff about this aging thing, and I'm in my mid 50s and stuff, but I think about this where I want to give respect to mindset mastery. If we can just hold that space for us, is that, as we get older, we just kind of like, okay, so I learned naturally. I've had some issues and I've learned from those. And, but the thing I think really helps is when you own it.
Hmm.
Like when something doesn't go right, you don't
Yeah.
say, I should have stayed on my path. I should have done this. I should have, could have, would have, and just kind of, and then your past cycles, just kind of going in there at yourself.
Yeah.
And you could go that route because I feel like that's a general way that we're raised. Like, because you can go back 20 years and know exactly what went wrong and all the details in that cycle. Because you
Yeah.
want to keep those details because that's your story.
Hmm.
And so I want to really give respect with what you and I are really talking about here is that I think mindset mastery, showing up in your business, talking about loyalty in a way that like, hey, I got your back.
Hmm.
There's something deep that we really want to own about why we're doing this show, why you said yes to this interview. It's that I want to help people feel healthy, like that they're not at themselves, that
Yeah.
loyalty really truly is about that you're like what you said, like being nice to yourself, like the loyalty
Hmm.
and the love for yourself so that you can exude that
Yeah.
and so people can feel it. And so there's something about that. It's just not just about the age. I like to give ourselves
Yeah. I
kudos
think
about
it's
that.
because I think that's like being loyal to yourself is not like judging yourself too harshly, just giving yourself
Yeah.
that space to, be imperfect. So,
Yeah.
and it's funny because when you look up like loyalty online or whatever, you often
Yeah.
think of dogs, right? It's because they love you unconditionally and they don't judge you no matter what. So, you come home from work or whatever, and the dog's always there waiting for you, you know, loyal as can be. So it's like, yeah, maybe people need to be a little bit more like that too.
All right, Lou, you brought up animals one more time. I got to talk about this. No, I got to talk about this. So I feel like I'm working in alignment like a dog,
Hmm.
like a horse.
Hmm.
Like, these animals that they literally are unconditional in their love and they keep showing up. And that's what have been one of my latest things about I like when people call me out on stuff. Please, if you're seeing me in a cycle, and I'll do the best I can to receive that because I want to
Hmm.
keep learning. And so I keep looking at Oliver and Robert, and I start my day. And I just did a retreat here too. I have a five
Oh, wow.
acre ranch. I call it the
That's cool.
Fresh Inspiration Ranch,
Yeah.
in alignment with my marketing. And and my dogs, they help me with the retreat, like and this is about them just like being like they're energy beings, and we are too.
Hmm.
but our mind can get so caught up because we're so smart. Our mind gets caught up so much in those stories that we don't always get to show up that way.
Right.
And I'm always looking at Oliver and Robert and our neighbor horse. His name's Whiskey.
Hmm.
And I love that name, by the way. And I go to Whiskey early in the morning. It's dark right now because at like 4:35, by the time I get out there, it's about 5:30. And I'm walking my track. I have this track. And I have Oliver and Robert out with me. And I just look at them and they're just
Hmm.
so happy. I see their tails wagging. And that to me means be present, Rhonda.
Yeah.
And then I look over at Whiskey, and Whiskey is like getting to know that I'm calling his name and I'm talking to him and I'm thanking him for being around our property because of how strong and he's in his 20s, a horse
Hmm.
that's 20 years
Wow.
old. And I
Yeah.
hope, audience, you're finding this to be interesting because I find that this is how we get to be in our truth about life really is about. So my alignment is that my teachers are Oliver and Robert and the animals around. So I'm like, here, wait, I'm not happy-go-lucky, which means I'm not present. And what can I learn from this? So I'm always looking at my surroundings and being present. And if I notice I'm not really present, I know that there's some anxiety or
Yeah.
stress going on, which is not going to make the best video for the day if I do that. So I'm like, they're telling me, get ready, Rhonda, because you're going to do a video.
Hmm.
So anything with your connection with your pugs.
Yeah. I mean, it's just they're going to do what they're going to do. I don't have too much control over them, so I just kind of go with the flow and realize that sometimes you just got to roll with it. So like
Yeah.
they do, they're just like they're clueless. They don't know what's going on. They just want to run and play and have fun. So
Is this an interesting, different conversation you've ever had on an interview,
yeah,
Lou?
I don't think I've
Like,
talked about loyalty and dogs,
yeah,
but
loyalty and dogs, and I don't know. And I'm exposing you more, I bet. You're like, oh, huh, how do I answer that
mm,
question?
yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
Hey, my friend, thank you for being here.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna okay, so we got your YouTube channel. I want to
Hmm.
actually kind of put it here. So what's your YouTube channel called again?
I think if you just put in Lou Bortone video, you'll find like at Lou Bortone video because now you have these
Mhm.
handles on YouTube that are easier than those long, ugly links that they used to give
Yep.
you. Lou
Yep.
Bortone video. Yep.
Okay.
And yeah, that's where it is.
Would you like them to go somewhere too, or you
Um,
have
my regular website is loubortone.com, and I talk a lot about loyalty and how to use video to build relationships and basically get more clients, create more connections, things like that at
mhm.
loubortone.com.
Okay, got that for you. And then this is YouTube. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, my friend. I appreciate you so
Thank
much. I
you.
really do. When I was looking at your stuff, I was just giggly and laughing and humor in life helps everybody else feel so safe. So I
Yeah, it's
appreciate
like
you.
don't be afraid to make an ass of yourself sometimes because it's freeing. It's liberating.
It is. Once you forgive yourself, you go, here, wait, I'm being a dumb. No, that's good. Not
Hmm.
bad.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
being
much.
here.
We'll
All
talk to you
right.
soon.
Appreciate you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, okay. So Fresh Talks Global Vision. Here we are on the next layer. So we have Donna Schreiner coming up pretty soon here. And let me see what's happening for her. Yep. All right. So Donna will be in. I'm just sending her a message. All right. I'm going to sit with you for a moment here. I'm going to take a chair and really sit in what we're talking about here. And I think this whole thing around mindset mastery is something that I've been dealing with. And so get your journal if you want. Get yourself hunkered in and let's talk about this. Well, and Donna will be coming in. When Donna comes in, we're going to be speaking about some things that she's learning about herself too. She's been being coached. You wonder, like, why would you want to coach for more than 6 months or a year or whatever? And So she's going to talk about that, just kind of like showing up and showing up for herself. Let's see here. We double check here. Make sure everything just technically how we're doing. All right. Just want to make sure we're going live okay too. It's kind of transitioning. Make sure you grab some water. A little bit of green room stuff here. Good. Okay. Showing that we're live. Oh, awesome. Oh, so let's taking a breather as we're transitioning. Hot water is always good. So I've been doing this show for 6 years now. We're going towards 7 years. And I'm learning so much about how to bring in authenticity. And that really has to do with how do I feel about myself? What am I exploring so that I can be in truth? And the more that I can be in truth, the more it makes my life happier. And the more that I'm happy and elevating that, that frequency, the more that I get to show up for Jacob and Kirsten, my lovely kids, for Jeff. We've been having these great conversations around 4:30 in the morning. Alarm goes off, and we should jump right out of bed. And lately, we're dealing with some new things. And I don't know about you, but this is going to be a great conversation if you feel like you've been dealing with some new things in your life. Jacob and Kirsten are getting ready to transition out of the household. And being in truth with how I feel about that and what I want to do before they head out. Kirsten for college, Jacob, he wants to move to Washington and start his life in a new way. And so proud of both kids. So then I'm sitting with my hubby, and I've been going through so many changes, running a business. He runs his business, and there's a lot of vulnerability. You know what I'm talking about? I bet you have a lot of vulnerability in your life, just like showing up as like something in life that you want to, or expressing your heart more. That is like serious vulnerability. So dealing with this vulnerability, I've been more about wanting to heal my thyroid, like speaking more truth. And I know that my thyroid journey is about me not showing up for myself. And if I don't show up for myself, then how can I show up for anybody else? There may be times I want to show up for other people, and I will when I think about it. But when it really comes down to, let's say I'm off for the day, just kind of off, like my brain is just kind of just blah, 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 going for it, that I'm not going to be there for somebody else consistently and being able to show how much I care and love for them, because my brain is going to be in chaos unless I work in trying to learn how to be more authentic with myself, to be able to listen to what's really important to me. Because there's so many years where I was just shutting myself down that I didn't even hear what was really going on for me. I just knew that after an incident happened that made me unhappy, that I would start, like I would say, like naysaying myself. I would start just thinking these things about myself, like, why did you deal with it this way? Why are you doing that? Why? And I just start coming at myself, and I would literally lose my energy. Like, and I'm a vitality coach. That's why I'm a vitality coach. I spent my whole life being shut down, not talking. And I wanted to learn how to be able to be in more truth with everybody. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to finish off what I'm saying here. And I'm going to close down. I'm going to start up again, come back in. So I think I'm having a little bit of technical things. So let me finish this right here about being in truth. I started learning more about myself when I realized I wasn't showing up for others, because I noticed that I wasn't showing up for others, but I really wasn't showing up for myself. I felt very scared, and I would shut down to where I didn't really want to speak. But in my mind, I was just battling, going for battles, like, especially with my husband, in my mind, thinking about everything he did wrong. And I was talking to him about this morning, about judging him, about judging. Because when he would do something, I would say, okay, he's doing that. And then that makes me mad. And now I'm not even going to talk to him. And now I'm just going to go in the other room. And it was this whole cycle. And that's why when Lou was on earlier, I was talking about this mindset mastery. I wanted to discover what it's like to not be on medicine so I can really hear my true aches and pains instead of this band-aid that was on my vocals. So my brain was going really, really fast. And when I started speaking more in truth, it took a while for what was going on in my brain to actually translate it so I could actually say it. So I'd stumble on my words. I would just be not knowing how to express myself. So it looked very clunky. And as a speaker, sometimes I get tied up in knots, not knowing, how to step into something. So I thought about this and I just said, I'm feeling so much pain in my body that it's my time to start opening up. It's my time to start opening up. If I don't, then my body's going to feel all this emotion. And really, this research out there is that 95% of your emotions is in your body, because they can see when you have something going on, there's all these reactions going on in your body, and your body's just living in the energy of what your brain is thinking in those cycles. And if we listen to 60,000 words that we have, that we just say to ourselves every day, and 80% of that is known to be negative, 90% of all of that is just regurgitated supposedly over and over and over in this research stuff. So I wanted to not have that anymore. And not 100%, but I thought if I grow my heart and I learn how to express what I'm feeling, like the stuff that I'm afraid of, like the things about meditating more, about being deeper with who I was, and deeper meaning that I could actually hear some of the cycles that I was in, and that I thought that it was cool not to cry before. And then I started crying, and I was like, like I started these new things that helped me release stress in my life. And when I started crying more, people around me were like, who are you? Are you having a breakdown? Because I didn't know how to express it. So I thought, if I start expressing myself more, then my body will heal, because I won't have those reactions happening in my body, because my body's reacting to everything that my brain is thinking. Then I can relax. Then I can get off of medicine. But I got to be in truth. I got to be in truth to be able to do that, which means every day I'm working on mindset mastery. So I have this course that I'm doing, and it's not a course yet, but I'm doing like a day, a 4-hour thing, and it's all around how to have those breakthroughs. And I look at this top 10 list that I built probably 12 years ago, but it's a really easy way to go back and listen to words and phrases that you're saying. So that was the first thing I started thinking about, is like, I can't, I should, I'm late all the time. These things that were really coming at me, well, that's part of the top 10 list. And when I started looking at those things that were like on my mind, and that I wanted to do, but I was just stopping myself because I was getting in the way. So when I started doing like journaling or listening to myself or going for walks, going in the water, oh, water's a good one. Water's a good one. That I was like, I'm going to just be myself. And I noticed that when I started just like speaking like I do in my mind, or speaking the way I do when I'm with my clients, that something new showed up for me. I started slimming down. Because when I got off of medicine, I would say I gained about 60 pounds, and I was all into my body. Been working out since I was 14, didn't know what I was going to do from the time of gaining weight and being a health coach. Gaining weight and all those pictures that were out there of me just kind of really didn't look like me anymore. And I wanted to get in truth about that. How can I do this and be authentic and really express who I am so that people feel safe around me? And I still get to some of these people that know me in the past in this business where I didn't know what I was doing. So maybe I looked like I was cutthroat because I was so scared. Have you done that in your business or in your life where you're not very nice, but you know that you want to be, but you're scared because you're trying to figure out how to run a business? And so I started showing up and sharing with people just by how much I cared about them. And I knew that threw some people off because they were like, is Rhonda really being truthful? Or is this her new strategy in business? And I said to myself, oh, how do I get them into believing that this is the true me? Because I'm still learning too. And in my brain is saying, oh, that's just so not true. You're not that much of a love bug. Oh, nobody really cares anyway. Like, the cycles that were going on. And I started really just showing up and just saying, I don't care about what other people think. I just need to keep moving forward because all my life I was trying to prove. I have to prove to you. You don't believe me. Let me prove it to you. Oh, you don't think I've changed. Well, that's okay because I'm questioning myself if I changed. But I don't need to keep reminding people who I was to who I am now. I just need to show up. And have you ever been in a relationship where someone says, oh, I'll change? And it's like, here, wait, you were just this person now, and now you're telling me you're going to change. That's not going to work. So when I started changing, I was almost like zipping it, like just like, come on, Rhonda, just keep showing up. Don't be getting your head about this stuff. Don't do it. And I got real quiet. And then I got in real truth. And I start showing up even more and more. That's what I want to do for you with this show, Fresh Talks Global Vision, is to be able to keep showing up, keep sharing with people that this is truth and that you can have the best life you want, but the work is that you put time in for you. And we used to think, oh, that's so selfish. And I know these days we're getting smarter about that, but your brain doesn't always know that. Your brain will keep telling you, don't take a break, keep working, and like there's just this list of things, that you got to do. But if you do your morning work, your mindset stuff, then something usually happens where you're starting to know yourself more. So with Fresh Talks Global Vision, keep close to us. I'm going to bring Donna on in a minute. I'll be going live in just a moment here. And I appreciate you. And let's keep rocking. She'll probably be with us for maybe like 15 minutes or so. And then that'll be the end of our show. See you in a few minutes.